Hey everybody, and welcome back to another political show. We're going to look at Trump delivering results on border control and DOGE government audit or efficiency. So we're going to have a little delve into this. So it's going to be a bit of fun, hitting the ground running on these two issues as well. So hope you guys enjoyed the show. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share the bell. And this is our fourth video in our political series, so it's going to be a lot of fun. All right, let's see how we're going here. Just jump into the chat there, get lively. We're going to kick it off as well. So let's go and have a look at the Department of Government Efficiency led by Elon Musk there and a whole band of super geniuses. So we're going to talk about that now. Let's go. So at the moment, we've got obviously the Department of Government Efficiency has full transparency here on X platform. Publishing their data as they find stuff, they publish it. As they fix up some of the administration, they add that too, so they can trace where all the money's going from USAID and all the other departments that they're going to be covering. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We've got a few people in house. We've got Hexcavator, good to see you. Hey gang, we got Wookie as well, number 2 today. Nice work there, and Diamond Hands back to back. That's how we roll here as well. The Department of Government Efficiency looking into this. So Elon Musk there posting, according to Social Security database, these numbers of people in each age bucket with the death field set to false. Maybe Twilight is real, and there are a lot of vampires collecting Social Security. And you can see the age groups here, 70 to 79, 80 to 89, 90 to 99. And then once you get to 100, 109, you got 4.7 million. But then you just keep going, and there's different age brackets, and there's millions of people all the way up, right up to 200 years old almost. So obviously there needs a bit of cleanup there, and making sure that they're not all getting Social Security. Obviously, we know that there's a lot of Social Security fraud domestically. We know that there's a lot of Social Security fraud internationally, targeting the Social Security in the United States, and it is big numbers. I think it's in the billions. But of course, there may be kickbacks involved as well with some of these setups, because it's a very shady business. And of course, the Department of Government Efficiency, thereby Elon Musk, is shedding light on it. There's nothing like light to shed the darkness there. And the darkness doesn't understand it. Is that the way it works? The darkness doesn't understand it. So that's the government efficiency there, finding some pretty good stuff. Now, obviously, there's a big pushback by Democrats who have been probably benefiting from all this for decades, as well as bad Republicans in the Uni Party as well. And so, they've been putting out every argument they can, trying to shut this down, because they're probably going to be a lot of the ones that get exposed, right? So that is a big problem for them. So they're profusely out on the street rioting, or at least protesting, and also on the mainstream media, at least which is dominated by the left wing, putting every single argument they can think of, getting judges to intervene as well, particularly Obama judges. So they're up to all sorts of things. Now, in terms of the actual process of auditing, in terms of getting government efficiency with spending, they've now put in a Treasury access symbol, which is an identification code linking Treasury payments to the budget line item. You'd think this would have been a no-brainer. You'd think this would be that tight. That's how it should be operating, that you should know that this payment aligns with that budget item, and that's where the money's gone. But no, it's not the case. So in the federal government, the TAS field, or the Treasury access symbol, was optional. Optional, can you believe it? For 4.7 trillion in payments. I mean, it's unbelievable, and was often left blank, making traceable almost impossible. As of Saturday, this is now a required field, increasing insight into where money is actually going, thanks to the US Treasury for that work. So they're obviously working with the US Treasury now. So big deal there. Just keep in mind that the annual revenue of the United States is about 27 trillion. So 4.7 trillion is a ton of money over a period of time. Now, that's some of the stuff that's going on there. So they're tidying up the system, they're finding fraud, and they're also reaching out to public about any areas of waste, fraud, abuse that they can help investigate, along with their super genius team there as well. So it's going to be pretty awesome. Obviously, they've found tons and tons of fraud already as well. So that's been pretty important. On a post on paper checks, Treasury processed 116 million paper checks in FY24. In 2023, 25 billion in tax refunds were delayed and lost due to tax, lost due to return or expired checks. Treasury maintained a physical lockbox network to collect checks for tax passports. It cost approximately $2.40 per check to maintain this lockbox network. Deleting paper checks would save at least $750 million a year. So from modestly big things to huge things, they're finding stuff all over the place. And hey, look, this has been decades in the waiting, and the fact that the American people should be very happy that where is the taxpayer money going? Is it going to the right place? And obviously, they're just finding one thing after another, which is pretty crazy there. Now, we're also seeing the fact that because they want more transparency, which obviously they're doing full transparency, they now have got opening up a DOGE account for every government department exposing the waste, fraud, and abuse. So there's going to be an account here on the affiliates. So if we go to affiliates, there's going to be an account for every single department. You can think of state, interior, the HUD, etc., Social Security, and of course they're going to have all these, showing up any issues with those audits as they go through different departments. Now, obviously, they're trying to get judges to shut all that down. That's going to be a big deal there. The other big thing in the news is that the DOGE is going to be looking at checking the gold at Fort Knox. Now, I think the last time the gold was checked at Fort Knox was 1974. I think that was the last day. And so Elon Musk has even talked about the fact that they're going to do it live feed so they can actually see that the gold at Fort Knox is actually there. And so, Elon Musk, they're putting a meme out and it's gone. So hopefully not, right? Hopefully not. This gold is the property of the American people, and I sure hope it's still there. So that's something that's going to be coming up soon. And as you guys know, a lot of governments around the world have been collecting gold just as insurance for the world economy, and everything's going right. So that's going to be pretty interesting there. All right, so that is some of the stuff that's happening on DOGE, but also you can go to doge.gov and see all the latest work. Those are ex-posts there, and they give a whole stream of things that they're finding as well. So here's one here. US taxpayer dollars were going to be spent on the following items, all which have been cancelled. $10 million for Mozambique voluntary medical male circumcision. This is not Americans, remember. 9.7 million for UC Berkeley to develop a cohort of Cambodian youth with enterprise-driven skills, and so on. So there's lots of these kind of line items that they've been finding. 2.3 million for strengthening independent voices in Cambodia. 32 million for the Prague Civil Society Center. 40 million for gender equality and women empowerment hub. So this is all left-wing progressive ideology that's being funded by the US taxpayer. This should be raised independently by political groups, not being taxed by the tax dollar. It should be fairly neutral, but they're funding all these left-wing ideas. And 40 million for improving public procurement in Serbia. 486 million to the consortium for elections and political process strengthening, including 22 million for inclusive and participatory political process in Moldova, and 20 million for voter turnout in India. Now, I bet you a bottom dollar they don't know where any of this money's gone. Just about. It'd be pretty bizarre. And of course, the amount of corruption in Africa and other places like that, you got to take that variable into account as well, right? 29 million strengthen political landscape in Bangladesh. 20 million for fiscal federalism in Nepal. 19 million for biodiversity conversation in Nepal. 1.5 million for voter confidence in Liberia. 40 million for social cohesion in Mali. Well, they've got a lot more issues than that for sure. 2.5 million for inclusive democracies in South Africa. 47 million for improving learning outcomes in Asia. This is all this money from US taxpayers going to all this stuff. Now, obviously, they're not going to be shutting down good causes like famine and things like that, but they really want to get rid of all these little Democrat programs, left-wing programs, and just get it down so that the spending in the US is aligned with the official budget and with the priorities of the United States. So let's see where that all ends up. But this is just a little teaser of some of the stuff they're finding. And of course, you can go through the whole list, find more and more stuff in there. So let's jump over to the next topic we're going to do, which is the border. We're going to be looking at that. Before we do, though, let's check some more comments in the chat there. Matt in Bali, howdy, Superman. Have you got a new time for your live shows? No, this is I'm doing a second show, doing on politics rather than crypto, and so that's why we've been doing this politics series here. Matt in Bali says New Zealand and Oz needs a DOGE system and an order. Also, they certainly do. So they certainly do, but that's for sure. Especially after the Labor government was in power. They have now also the Labor left and strengthened up in New Zealand, their own little deep state. We have a deep state running New Zealand now, and the current government doesn't want to get rid of it, even though they've ran into them many times. So we're in big trouble. But anyway, it's not about us; it's about America. So let's keep going with this update. So that is the first topic there on the DOGE. It's doing some great stuff. Obviously, they're going to be auditing all these other divisions as well. So there's going to be so many things coming out of DOGE that it's going to embarrass a lot of people in the Democrat and some in the Republican that are part of the Uni Party. And of course, who's getting kickbacks? That's the next level, right? Who's getting kickbacks from some of these really dodgy programs? So yeah, it's going to be pretty big. I suggest you they're going to save hundreds of billions, if not into the trillions of dollars through this audit they're doing through DOGE. And within about 2 years, right? So it's got a fixed lifetime as well. All right, so we're going to get into the second topic here. But before we do, let's play this video about DOGE audit. And we're going to get on to the border control with the border czar there, Thomas Homan. So let's check out I think one of the greatest people in Trump's administration talk about DOGE, I think it is. So let's get into that.
To people who faithfully pay their taxes in this country, the DOGE isn't just going to go randomly sifting through the records and maybe come across the personal private records of a lot of Americans.
I can give absolute 100% insurance. I give you complete and total assurance on that point. We are talking about performing a basic anti-fraud review to ensure that people are not engaging in large-scale theft of federal taxpayer benefits. I mean, for example, we pay billions of dollars a year in child tax credit payments to illegal aliens. Billions with a B. So these are systematic, programmatic reforms that we're talking about here. And as far as protecting the secrecy of tax records, the IRS has been weaponized at the career level against the American people for years now. This has been one of the most invasive arms of the federal government, engaging in capricious and politically based audits, leaking taxpayer information for political reasons. We are restoring the neutrality. We are restoring ethics. We are restoring security controls at IRS. In fact, one of the big projects that DOGE is going to be working on is upgrading IT systems and software so that our taxpayer information cannot be stolen by criminals or foreign governments.
So massive upgrades there, and long overdue, right? Long overdue. It's going to have massive ramifications, and a lot of politicians are going to be embarrassed, and some may end up in prison. So keep a lookout for that. That's big. And of course, at the end of the day, it's going to save a lot of Americans a lot of money as well. So that means money can be spent at the right place, right? So kind of cool there. Now let's get back into that was Stephen Miller, by the way. It's a fantastic super brain that works for Donald Trump. Now Thomas Homan there, he's the border czar for the United States, looking after the southern border. So not only is one of the big domestic policies of Trump's making sure that the government's operating efficiently with high efficiency and transparency, but also that the southern border and northern border, for that matter, are secure. And so that means getting rid of all the crimes and illegal immigrants coming over the southern border. So that's basically a lot of work involved there. Now, Thomas Homan here, the border czar, said in the last 24 hours, the U.S. Border Patrol has encountered a total of 229 illegal alien migrants there across the entire southwest border. That is down from a high of 11,000 a day under Biden. How about that? Absolutely dramatic. So probably over 95% down, 229 down to 11,000. That's how much they've tightened the screws within weeks. It's only been, 3 weeks or something? Yeah, incredible results. That is down from a high of over 11,000 under Biden. That's how easy it was. So Biden opened the floodgates, and Thomas Homan there, Tom Homan, is shutting them down following President Trump's orders there. That's how easy it was to do within weeks. That's how easy it was, obviously, coordinating the U.S. agencies and doing that. So Biden opened it up intentionally to flood the United States, and they're shutting it down. And, of course, he says, I started as a border agent, patrol agent in 1984, and I don't remember the numbers ever being that low. President Trump promised a secure border, and he is delivering. And that is from the border czar there. So huge impact already. That's just hot off the press today. Let's have a look at another one that is done here. Interior arrests by ICE have increased more than 137% under President Trump. Arrests of illegal alien immigrants with criminal convictions have doubled under the president there. Now, I'm saying immigrants, but they're not all really immigrants. Some of them are crime cartel people, right? So just remember that there's a lot of mixed bags in there, a lot of trafficked people as well, human trafficking, women, children, and men for that matter. So there's lots of activities going there. So arrests of aliens with criminal convictions have doubled under President Trump. Now, obviously, they're focusing on the worst of the worst at the moment. The arrest of illegal alien gang members was also doubled. Our streets and neighborhoods that are that much safer under President Trump. We are less than a month in and have more to do. Now, I think they've done well over 20,000 of these extreme criminals. It may be much higher than that now, probably towards 30,000 or so, which is incredible. And these are a lot of the worst people that are in gangs, you know, rapes, murders, killings, high crimes and things like that. So that is pretty epic there. So they're really hitting the ground running within 3 or 4 months. Now they're obviously just still ramping up, and they're going to get all the different agencies across America: Homeland Security, the Department of Defense, State Department, Justice Department, and obviously border security as well. So pretty awesome there. Now the border wall, how big is it? Well, there's the border wall here. This is on cbp.gov, and you can see the border wall there. All the dark stuff's essentially existing border wall, and all the red stuff is either built or under contract to be built. And of course, it was almost completed to some degree by President Trump in his first term as 45, but then it was abandoned pretty much by Biden under his presidency, President 46. And towards the end, he was actually trying to sell all the materials off from all the construction bays and yards for $1. So he was trying to sell it all off for $1. And then, of course, some people that were bought it were trying to sell it back to Trump for an exorbitant amount for when he was coming in. So there's a lot of shenanigans there, and of course, Biden there pretty much working against America, right? Because you got to remember how many crimes came in with all those, maybe somewhere between 15 and 20 million, circa that amount of people came in over those 4 years. Pretty ridiculous numbers. So how much crimes were occurred with Gold Star mums and all that sort of stuff. So massive stuff there. So if you can actually zoom in on part of the border. Now, I think there's about 300 border ports into the United States. And so there's a lot of those border ports there. But you can see just lots of these border walls. This is 31 miles long. This is complete. This is in Yuma there. You click on the next one there. Complete 26 miles. You got another red one here is relatively new, complete 5 miles. So they completed a lot of the stuff, this section around here, around San Luis Rio in Colorado. We can move further over towards, I guess, California, Mexico there, and you've got border walls here. That was 14 miles complete. San Diego border wall system project, and so on. So lots of border wall there. That one's complete there. El Centro, and so on. But there is still stuff to be done. Now, there is difficult stuff, right? Stuff that's over little mountain areas. They are pretty difficult, and sometimes they don't actually build it there, and you often get people climbing up these steep little mountain hills and getting over that way, and so they're looking to shut down those as well, so maybe with other techniques of surveillance and patrols, right? They put roads up there and they're able to get up there pretty quick. They got cameras and drones and all sorts of things. So there's definitely ways of getting around some of these more difficult zones in the wall. So there's definitely sections to be completed, and so Trump's going to be looking to complete all that. And obviously the wall goes all the way. So I mean, you can see the stuff here is pretty hilly through here, and so they've got to, we'll see what they do. Probably different types of surveillance through those hilly hilly parts there, and then of course we're coming down to a place called Nuevo Laredo. Let me know in the chat if you've ever been there. 69 miles. Apparently that's under contract at Laredo there. That is part of the border wall. We've got further stuff further south here under contracts. There's quite a bit of stuff, I guess, still being built there based on these updates on this map. So lots of work happening there to finish off the border wall in the southern area. Now, obviously, there's a border wall or at least controls in the northern as well. That's apparently about 1% of the issues come through there in terms of illegal aliens, and but then a ton of drugs, right? Ton of drugs coming through there. So that is the southern border. Moving to the security, border security. They've got a couple of new documents here They got the 2024-2028 U.S. Border Patrol strategy, and they got the air and maritime operational visions and strategy. And of course, that's essentially around operational excellence, shutting down the border and controlling the border, and dealing with all the crimes that come through as well. And as we saw, they've actually well over 95% down now on breaches of the border now. So just unbelievable numbers there. Now, in terms of CBP enforcement actions, you can see that under the pre-Biden, so under Trump, officer of field operations, they had relatively low numbers: 216,000 2017, 241,000 in 2020, and all pretty similar there. And then as soon as Biden got into power, they started ramping up, right? So 21, 22, by the time you get 23, 24, you're at 1.1 million, 1.3 million under Trump there. And U.S. Border Patrol, they also climbed, so we're 300,000 to 400,000 with a bit of a jump year in FY19. But then by the time you get to Biden years, they blew out 1.6 million, 2.2 million, 2 million, 1.6 million there. And now we've got a brand new year there under Trump. And of course, they've only just got in there though. So that's just starting to ramp up there after, say, mid-January. So we'll see where 2025 and probably even more important 2026 and 7 and 8 go under Trump's presidency there. So yeah, lots of stuff happening there. Now we're also going to look at criminal alien statistics as well. U.S. Border Patrol criminal aliens. Now you can see under Trump's first term, 8,500. It was falling dramatically, 8.5 in 2017, down to 6,700 2018. FY19, 4,200, and the final year, 2,400. So he had done a huge job there with the Border Patrol criminal alien arrests. But then under Biden, it all gets up because they allowed people to flood through. You're up at 10,700, 12,000. And this is with them even letting a lot of people go. They changed the whole culture as well as flooding in millions and millions of people over the United States. You got 12,000, 15,000, and then 17,000. That's how many criminals. That's just a little snapshot of the criminals that got arrested. All the criminals that didn't get arrested, of course, is a magnitude order above that. And so that's an area that Trump and Tom Homan will be focusing on. And that will reduce the crimes, the rapes, the murders, the high crimes and violence, home invasions, car invasions, office, commercial buildings, all that sort of stuff. It's going to be a big deal. In fact, we've got a breakdown here by type. We can see just in the end of Biden's last year, conviction types of some of these people was assault, battery, domestic violence, 1,100, burglary, robbery, 700 of these people that are actually arrested, and driving under influence, 2,800, illegal drug possession at 1,500, illegal entry and re-entry, of course, which is a crime, 11,000 there, and so on. So sexual offences, 211. But look at this way back in FY21, Biden's first year there, almost 500 sexual offences there. And of course, these victims are all, their lives often get ruined. It's a real travesty there, particularly some of these high crimes. So it's pretty crazy, some of these things. Now, some of the other stuff they've had, obviously there's lots of different statistics. I'm not going to go through all of those, but drug seizures there. We're going to have a quick look at that. And you can see drug seizures there have been pretty high into pounds. So 73,400 drug pounds there and ending September 24. So this is in Biden period. So obviously they're going to be looking to lower that under the Trump stuff. I imagine it's going to dramatically fall off. Some of the drugs there, marijuana, methamphetamine, they're the huge numbers there, 2024. Cocaine, fentanyl, these are the ones. Now, fentanyl, of course, is particularly dangerous. Apparently, like a cup of fentanyl can kill 1 million people, something like that. It's pretty dramatic there. So they're going to look to try and drop off all these high drugs here by closing down the border. And I suggest to you it's probably going to be pretty effective. We already know that a lot of the cartels are already upset and have issued some crazy orders about drones and firing back and all sorts of stuff like that. So we'll see how far they take that. Also, we've noticed that Trump and Mexico, with Tom Homan, has talked about getting the Mexican government on board to take out the cartels altogether. So that's be the use of special forces and all the air and ground and informational assets in the United States, helping Mexico to get rid of these big giant cartels. They are ginormous. They have incomes of small countries, and they've pretty much got bribes and murders, everything you can imagine in crime These guys are webbed into the United States and into South America and around the world, including a lot of drug production from China. So this is going to be a huge thing coming up. If they can even do that, that's going to be pretty amazing. Obviously, there's a domestic game and then there's an offensive game. So yeah, keep a lookout. But it looks like they're going to do it. And I think if they don't do it, the crime syndicates are just going to take over permanently. And so civil society will start falling apart, where pretty much the cartels end up running America, and that's a very real threat. And they do it through fear. When no one pushes back, they do it through fear, and they get you they set you up, entrapment, all sorts of things that they will threaten to do. And that means it doesn't matter who the politician is. So it's pretty important that they deal with this issue now as well, especially after Biden opened up the border there for years. So there is some of the stuff there going on in the United States, and it's just the beginning. We're only like 3 weeks in or so, and already making massive gains. Like over 90% is unbelievable. 95% is unbelievable on that daily pass through the border. So yeah, it's going to be crazy. There's 300 ports of entry in the United States. There's a lot of entries to cover, and now they're coordinating all the agencies. And man, America's going to feel it. I think if you're in big cities, you're going to start feeling the benefit. We already see whole areas being cleared out of people, particularly in the big cities. Some of the illegal immigrants are trying to illegal immigrants and criminals are trying to move into non-cities, so spread out through the United States. You remember, there's millions and millions, tens of millions of them potentially. So I would say even before Biden, there's probably at least maybe 40 million people in the United States that are probably in there illegally. And of course, a lot of them obviously just want to get a better life. They get, below under the table work and stuff like that. But then a lot of them are also competing. Those people are competing against American citizens for certain jobs as well. And of course, under affirmative action and stuff with Biden, they were often getting preferential treatment and taxpayer money. So that's pretty controversial stuff. In addition to that, of course, you had massive crime waves coming in, and you had massive human trafficking. So you got women and children. They get through to America, they get working, and then they become slaves. They have to pay back money to the cartels, stuff like that. And if they don't, all sorts of bad things can happen. So it's going to be wonderful. Really, this is common sense, really, and it's going to be good to see people in America will feel it. Even people that maybe not the Republicans, maybe not pro-Trump, and they're going to start seeing it in the cities, and they're going to go, "Oh wow, okay, that used to be kind of violent, kind of a bit weird. People used to be, stuff like that happening." Now, the other thing I haven't heard Trump talking much about, and it's an area that will indirectly be benefited by what Trump is doing, but it is the homelessness and homeless people in the United States, which I understand is, last time I checked the numbers, you can double check me, but we're somewhere in the 3 to 4 million mark, which is horrendous, right? It's a horrendous number. So obviously they're going to indirectly benefit by America being better off, safer and more prosperous. But they probably do need a lot of specialty programs. A lot of them are in Democrat cities, and we know how badly they run those. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see that topic, and maybe something we might look at in another show, because it is a significant issue, and a lot of them are Americans as well as will be illegal immigrants there or criminals. So yeah, it's going to be fun. Hope you guys enjoyed and got a bit of more insight into these two topics. But yeah, massive results on border control and DOGE already, and only a couple of weeks in. Can you imagine 3-6 months from now? It's going to be pretty impressive to see where that heads. And of course, America will benefit, be safer, and have the money go to the right place and spend on the right things. So going to be pretty cool. All right, that's half an hour on the live, and I'll catch you on the next show. Hope you guys enjoyed that one, and see you in the next one. Bye for now.